His experiment or mission in life or work of art is to love the poor, useless losers of Rosewater County. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Read the Right Thing Book Reviews. I'm Eric. Thanks so much for watching. I keep chugging along on my journey to read every Kurt Vonnegut novel in order. This year is God Bless You, Mr. Rosewater or Pearls Before Swine, another hilarious, thought-provoking gem of satire by Kurt Vonnegut. I enjoy these books so much I should really read more than one a year. This book is about money. A few Americans have a lot of it, and many have none of it. The book is a comment on capitalism, wealth, and the class system. If that doesn't sound very entertaining, just remember that we're dealing with Kurt Vonnegut here. There are critiques of economic inequality, but then there is also a mention of a foot-long pubic hair, poems about pissing in ashtrays, and a teenage girl who sells pornographic literature to her friends. Vonnegut's wit is really on display here. His style is like short epiphanies and random meditations. These meditations come in the form of random poems, speeches from characters, or even letters. He writes all of these funny one-liners like they just happen to come to him in the moment, mixed with ideas he spent a lifetime developing. This book has many bizarre characters that come and go. The plot is sporadic and scattered. The leading character in this tale about humans is a sum of money. From the first page, a sum of money is a leading character in this tale about people, just as a sum of honey might properly be a leading character in a tale about bees. But money as a character isn't really as interesting. We need the human aspect. So enter Elliot Rosewater. He's a World War II vet and president of the Rosewater Foundation, a charity designed and created to keep the Rosewater family wealthy for generations to come. Elliot is mentally ill from his World War II experiences, and he's also an alcoholic. Elliot dedicates not only the money of the Rosewater Foundation, but his life and all his love to help the poor people of Rosewater County, Indiana. For taking on such a Christ-like goal, his family, principally his father, ridicules him, and his wife leaves him. Another character, Norman Mushari, a young lawyer, is motivated by financial gain, like most lawyers are. He sets out to prove that Elliot is crazy and mentally insane, so that the money in the Rosewater Foundation can be exchanged to a distant cousin, Fred Rosewater. Anytime money is exchanged, lawyers get paid. Fred is the descendant of the Rosewater brother who was duped into getting none of the Rosewater fortune. This brother was blinded, I believe, in the Civil War, and maintained a rather happy disposition after getting swindled out of his fortune. Vonnegut writes that Fred, this distant cousin of Elliot's, Fred is the son of a man who committed suicide and frequently contemplates his own. Luckily, before Fred commits suicide, Norman Mushari visits him and lets him know that there's a way he can get all this money. There are several messages in this book. The most popular is that, damn it, you've got to be kind to people. That's what Elliot Rosewater says as a blessing to some newborn babies in Rosewater County. Another message is that I think Kurt Vonnegut thought America was in a situation or heading in a direction where there would be an entire class of poor, useless Americans. He says the American dream went belly up, and it no longer exists. Vonnegut uses dark humor to point out the absurdness of the American class system and whether the American dream can become a reality or not. Questions are asked and given multiple answers. Questions like, shouldn't the insanely rich just give poor people money? Wouldn't that solve poverty? Wouldn't it give some poor person a chance to really make something of themselves and become successful? Or would it just create a class of useless Americans who would then expect free money? In this America, the rich think that everything is a gift to the poor, even the sunset, oceans, and forests. These rich people don't want to pay their own laborers while they pay exorbitant amounts of money for art. So back to Elliot Rosewater. His experiment or mission in life or work of art is to love the poor, useless losers of Rosewater County. He sets up an office and equips it with a phone that receives calls from all the inhabitants of Rosewater. He listens to their problems and then usually gives them a small sum of money. Elliot gives all of his love equally to everyone, which kind of cheapens his love. He pays for things, but in the end he fails to even remember people's names. He falls into madness and ends up in a mental institution. He didn't actually help anyone. I think he just provided a temporary band-aid. And the people of Rosewater County kind of became dependent on him. So then when he left, who knows what happened. The novel is still relevant today and will remain relevant. As long as there is wealth inequality and class systems, people will get something out of this book. That's what makes Vonnegut so special. The novels he wrote in the 60s are still relevant today. In this book, the Vonnegut universe continues to be formed. We see the Rumfords for a brief second, the family from Sirens of Titan, and we get to know characters that will reappear in later novels. This universe, hands down, way better than the Marvel universe. This novel will entertain and provoke your mind. Possibly it'll change your beliefs about capitalism, money, love, and kindness. One podcast I listened to said Vonnegut is at his most liberal in this book. He's sort of like a liberal Ayn Rand. Although I will say his liberalism doesn't seem didactic or preachy. It doesn't beat you over the head, even though it is clear what he thinks about money. He thinks money is a dehumanizing type thing. He presents both sides to different arguments, why they're good or bad, and somehow makes them both sound humorous and insane. The one lesson that cuts through all of the Kurt Vonnegut novels I've read is that you've got to be kind. You have to love people. Going back to the Sirens of Titan, the secret of humanity, or I forget how they word it, but it's to just love people, who love whoever is around you. Vonnegut is a deep humanist and compassionate author who just happens to be fucking hilarious and dark. Did I have any dislikes with this book? Yes, like I mentioned, the plot is sporadic, and I wish the plot would have been a little more linear and straightforward. And I don't think I would rate this book higher than Sirens of Titan or Cat's Cradle for that reason. But this book was still no doubt the right thing for me. So if you like dark humor and satire, definitely check this out. If you like Vonnegut, you know what you like, so you would love this book. So that was my review of God Bless You, Mr. Rosewater by Kurt Vonnegut. If you've read this book, please let me know what you thought about the book in the comments. But once again, another Kurt Vonnegut book that's the right thing for me. Other than the first novel, Player Piano, I've been really impressed with all of these books. And I think next up is Slaughterhouse-Five, which, is a lot of people would say is his pinnacle. And I've already read it once, so I'm really looking forward to a reread. Well, thanks for tuning in, and as always, read the right thing.